Welcome back to Facing the Crowd. We are chatting to the owner of Emilios Gourmet Popcorn, Emil Alexander. Emil, growing up, what was life like for you?
The same old story, you know, and you don't really want to go back into these stories about poverty, but it's where we come from.
Yeah.
I grew up in Eldos and Ennerdale, Westbury, all three of those townships. So when people ask me where I'm from, I'm always like, where are you from? And if they say I'm from Eldos, yes, I'm from Eldos. Because I grew up in all three places.
Okay.
Yeah, and we didn't grow up rich like most. I mean, those are poor areas, a single mom, you know, grandmother who was a domestic worker and a cleaner. For the time I stayed with my grandmother when my mother was struggling, and then my mother's a very driven woman. She's currently helping me in the business now, you know. So she worked hard to make herself a success in the teaching industry, you know, as a teacher and so forth. So that's where I'm from originally. And yeah, got a sister. She's also a teacher now, very proud of her. So essentially that's where I'm from, yeah, poor background, single mom. And that's essentially, you know, the normal.
What was life like for you? I mean, what did you enjoy doing? What were your hobbies? What did you dream of becoming?
You know, for me as a child, I think I just lived, you know, I lived day to day. I think when I was 15 years old, I went to school in Lenasia, and I was sitting in a classroom with one of my friends, and he mentioned Bill Gates being the richest man in the world. And that concept, it never dawned on me, you know. Because then I thought about it and I was like, this man has more money than 5 million people in the whole world. At that time there was 5 million people in the world. It was a few years ago. So I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then yes, that just kept on mulling in my head, and I think I was about 15 or so at that time. And then yes, when I was 17, the bug bit me, and I just started, you know, seeing, hey, what can I do to make money? I think from the age of about 14, I was already financially self-sufficient. I had a part-time job. My mom wasn't buying me anything anymore. I was paying for my own things. So I was just, yeah. So I was naturally an entrepreneur. Naturally, I even remember, I think I was 6 years old. My mom brought those little ice lollies from work, and I remember very, very clearly, like thinking, wow, how much are other people selling it for? 3 cents. How are we going to let people know that we also sell ice lollies? I was about 5 at that time. I remember that very clearly. So I had a natural sales, entrepreneurship flair to me, but I only started like delving into it when I was about 17.
Looking back, who were some of your role models? Who influenced you? Who helped you who inspired you to be better?
I think a lot of the men in our church inspired me, you know. Because I grew up in a single mom household. There wasn't a very strong male role model around for me, so the men in our church was very strong. And then my mentors were basically books, you know. I'm an avid, I read a lot. A lot of my mentors and role models came from authors, all these motivational speakers, business people. I read a lot of autobiographies. So Richard Branson, everybody's autobiography that's successful in business, Herman Mashaba, all of these people. I read their books. Those for me are my business role models. My mom is a role model for me because, you know, her story is very sad, and how they grew up very, very poor in Westbury and Sophia Town, you know, like really poor. And what she's done as a single mom, even now, you know, helping me in the business. I mean, my mom is aging now, you know, she's reaching the part of her life where she's, you know, soon gonna have to retire and relax now, but just that push and drive, you know, to keep going and working. So my mom is a role model for me. And then, you know, one of my friends, Calvin Joe from the Johannesburg Culinary and Pastry School, he's one of my role models, you know, just his story and just never giving up and how he approaches business. I tap into him often. I speak to him 2-3 times a week to try and, you know, get motivation and inspiration from him, because he's one of those people. He's at the coalface. He understands where I'm at. So he's one of my role models. Him and his wife, Charlene. So those are people that have been my role models in life.
How do you unwind when you're not doing business? How do you relax, ground yourself so that you can be open and creative?
Currently, I haven't had breaks. Yeah, my wife actually forced me because it's to go and take a break. Like I think in August last year, we went on a 3-day break. I sleep very little. I sleep 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours. Because my mind is constantly racing, I sleep very little. So when I can't sleep, I watch a movie. And I watch a movie over 4 days, 20 minutes, then I'll fall asleep. And then the next evening when I wake up at 3 in the morning, I watch another 20 minutes, fall asleep. That's how I unwind. And I meditate. I meditate once or twice a day. It's called transcendental meditation. 20 minutes, that's what I do. I meditate. That's how I unwind. But you know, when I think hopefully when we open the second store very soon in round about May, I'm hoping somebody hears, watches the show to give us the funding. Then I'll probably force myself to just take 3 days just to go and forget about everything, you know.
Well, we caught up with someone who knows you on the more personal side. This is what they had to say about you.
My name is Calvin Joe. I'm friends with Emil. About 4 years ago I met Emil. It was basically, he came through he was doing training and we hooked up through friends regarding business as well. And what happened was he actually came to me and said he would like to start a popcorn business. Due to space and a lot of challenges he had, I said the best that we can do to assist is to give him space to do the popcorn. Classes finish from 5 until the evening. He has a space available to himself. That's how we became friends. Very, very driven, passionate. I think because he had businesses before, he knew exactly what he wanted. And I think he sets his goals extremely high. He doesn't sacrifice in quality. He believes his product is the best. And he's actually going for what he wants. That's the type of person I know him to be. Learning from Emil, it's his entrepreneurial spirit. I think because he has done it from such a young age. There's a lot of things. So he comes in normally and he helps our students when we have entrepreneurship week, and he come and do some training on entrepreneurship. And I think from that point of view, because he's been in the business for such a long time, being an entrepreneur for such a long time, there's a lot of small little life lessons that I learned from him. What Emil wants, he wants to educate people on popcorn. He wants people to understand. I mean, he coined the phrase popcornologist, you know, so he is a strong believer in gourmet popcorn. And I hope that he persevere and get in each mall. I think that's one of his biggest dreams, to have a shop in each of the malls and make people aware of this gourmet popcorn that he's busy with.
Emil, being the first South African to bring gourmet popcorn to the country, and obviously with a vision to expand beyond our borders into the world, how has your competition embraced you since the concept has erupted here at home?
Yeah, well, after I started, about 1.5 years after I started, there was just this flurry of guys coming on, you know, and it's good. The reason for that is because the concept, people come into our store every day not knowing what it's about. So with other people being around, they're educating the market about gourmet popcorn. My product, and I believe my product, is very different from the other people's products.
Yeah.
You know, I do premium gourmet popcorn. I use high quality ingredients. It's handcrafted. So that's my difference, and it tastes different. My product really tastes good, you know. So yes, there's been this flurry of people jumping on board. Some people that are well funded, others that are also not well funded. But the good thing about it is that it keeps me on my toes, you know. I can't become complacent.
Yes.
Firstly, because I want to grow, and secondly, it educates the market you know, because the more people know about gourmet popcorn, the more I sell, the more other people sell. And then as we go along, you know, the people who stay in this race and in this marathon will rise, you know, they'll continue growing. You have to focus on what you do, focus on your customer, and just be aware of the terrain and what other people are doing so that you don't fall behind from a technological and innovation perspective. But other than that, do your own thing, push your own difference, you know. And when those times come where you're like shocked, oh wow, that one is moving, that one, use that as a driver to just put more, work harder on yourself. That's how I do it. No, there's nobody that is immune to competition and how they feel about what the other person is doing. It's how you use it as a tool to push yourself. I use it to push myself forward all the time.
Along the way, what are your top 3 tips for entrepreneurs watching who want to perhaps enter the gourmet popcorn space, or just as a principle at large?
If you're in the food business, you've got to work very hard. You can't be lazy, and you've got to have a sense of excellence. Try and do the best, good quality food, you know. You've got to be dynamic. In the food business, you can't give up, because everybody eats all the time, and it's a type of business where the barriers to entry are very low. So you've got to innovate, and you've got to keep on doing better all the time to ensure that you stay on top of mind of the customers. And as I said earlier, just to never give up. Don't ever give up. If you want to be in business, you've got to keep on pushing, and you've got to be committed to the goal and to the vision. Yes, and that's the advice I can give to anybody.
What does the future hold for Emil and for Emilio's gourmet popcorn?
Well, I'm at an age where I don't want to do any, you know, to jump to another business and start all over again. Definitely is not going to happen. I've had many businesses. This is the business now that I'm going to push. This is the business that I'm going to drive. So Emilios is going to grow. And I've said it before on other occasions that it's one of the brands that are going to be there going forward for a long time. We're here to stay. We're growing this brand within the different sectors that we operate in. And yes, I'm just going to keep on pushing to ensure that Emilios is one of the recognized gourmet popcorn, confectionery, dessert, food concepts and brands in South Africa. You know, there's space for others, but when people think of gourmet popcorn or dessert concept, we are there. Emilios is one of the names. That's what's going to happen.
Emil, thank you so much for sharing your pearls of wisdom and just for making time to chat with us today. We wish you all the best with your future endeavors.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, they say you don't have to be great to start, you just have to start to be great. And Emil is well on his way to greatness. That is all we have for you this week. From myself, Liesl Wilson, and the rest of the team, it is goodbye for now.